what does power couple mean to you?
And power couple would be just being there for one another and making sure you're in this together.
I think we always compare ourselves to what we see online or with our friends, and we all know comparison is the thief of joy. Having those open conversations with your partner is so important. Between the first 2 to 4 years of your child's life, half the couples express a desire for separating or divorce.
So first of all, thank you so much for being here, Manan and Nikki. Welcome to my show.
Thank you.
And this is a long time making, by the way. This is the last time when I did this with two people, or with two of my best friends in season 1. And it took us like at least 45 minutes to warm up. So, but I kept everything in the video though. I didn't want to lose any fun elements out.
Of course.
And the feedback we got from our wives was that, how come you're not funny?
You don't have to worry about that with him. He's really funny.
Was that
Yeah.
a compliment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a huge compliment. I'll take it. And the reason is that they said that, when you don't have a camera on, you guys are so funny. And when you have camera on, you guys are not funny. And I told them we're going to work on it. And after maybe 2-3 seasons, we'll come back and see you again. And then let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you so much for doing this. So, how did we come up to this point? Again, this is your story through my lens. And I find you guys very interesting, right? And let's start with first question. What does power couple mean to you? When somebody says you're a power couple.
You want to answer that?
That's a hard question. A power couple, I think, can go through any struggle and still stay strong and connected through it, because we all go through challenges, and having that connection with each other and being able to navigate that, I think it's a power couple.
Okay. How do you look at it, Manan?
I think I would echo on what she just said. Power couple, I think they can overcome any challenges together. Having the right goal in mind and trying to be solution oriented, and just making sure that you're there for one another no matter what the circumstances are.
Right.
And just getting out of that situation and moving on to the next situation or what your focus point is in life. Okay. So I think power couple would be just being there for one another and making sure you're in this together.
Right.
And there's no clash or hurdles that kind of you create with one another.
Right.
Rather, you go in together to solve what you need to solve so you can kind of focus on the next chapter.
Awesome. While we were doing research, I have a big team of one person who was doing all the research. And I think you guys are a power couple. I'll tell you why. My personal thing is, I think she leads and then you support.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a definition of power couple. When you're not trying to complete the other person, but you are just there. And that makes it like a deadly team.
And I think it's both ways, because he leads in certain areas and I support.
That's good enough, but I feel like it's from men's perspective. I feel like when our wives or our sisters, when they are doing something and then we are just there, that makes them a very, very deadly team. But again, it's a perspective, right, of how you see things, how you envision things, right? Let's jump into a little bit of a relationship side. And I'm talking about like father and son or children's relationship, right?
Yeah.
What do you feel today it's much harder to raise kid in the US versus if the kid was raised in India? It would have been a lot easier.
I think it's hard everywhere. I think just because what the expectations, or I think more awareness it is as a father now to how to shape, how to be involved with your child. Before, I feel like previous generation, it was just, hey, work, make money, and just support the finances. And so that way, kids are there, but you don't really know too much about the kid or what they do, what major they want, what they like, sometimes even what grade they're in. But I feel like today there's a lot of, not equality, but I feel like a lot of the fathers or a lot of the male, they want to be involved in their kid's life.
Right.
So I think now you're setting up for that, being that role model for your child. Just little things, just like battling through their emotions, understanding their emotions. I think it's much more difficult now because what the world is today, social media with so much technology, so much freedom, flexibility. So I think it's definitely harder to be a father, a parent, or at least like involved parent, if you want to say.
Right.
So I think it's very difficult. I don't live in India, but I think I have family there. I know some people there. I think it's equally hard. I think it would be harder in America, just being the freedom,
Right.
the flexibility. But I think to be a father in today's generation is definitely much harder than it was probably, like 2-3 decades ago.
And I think also there's in the US there's more access to the knowledge, and you have access to resources.
Yeah.
But the issues here in the US, I think one is not being able to have a village. In India, I know when you grew up, your mom just used to send you outside to play with your friends, go biking, go do activities. Here, you don't necessarily have that village where your family's nearby, and so you are sort of doing it on your own and kind of making a path for your future.
Yeah. You feel having access makes it a little bit much harder, because also like when I grew up, I don't remember me having like a phone until I was in 10th, 11th grade. And my parents, I never kind of felt of having a need for a phone anyways. My parents didn't either force me to have it, but right now when I look at my kids, they have iPad. My younger one is just 1.5 years old. He already knows how to go back, change videos, and even though he doesn't stick to one video, but he knows how to do certain things.
Yeah.
And sometimes it scares me.
Yeah.
Because it's way too fast.
Yeah. I mean, I had my phone when I was, I think, in 12th grade.
Right.
I never wanted a phone because, I mean, not everyone had phones at that point.
Right.
And I feel like my life was just more about, like she said, like just with my friends, out, basketball, just activities. I was never home and just like, I'm bored.
Right.
Like today, like my son is like, I'm bored. You're sitting in a car, I'm bored.
Right.
There was no such thing for us at that point. Like I remember it's like snowing and we're still playing basketball outside.
Right.
Today, if it's raining, my kid wouldn't they're like, I don't want to go outside. It's raining. Like my kid was like, I can't ride a bicycle, but it's raining.
Right.
I mean, I tell him not to ride it because it's not safe right now.
Right.
But I remember riding a bicycle in rain or anything. So I just think that there's so much out there today, technology wise, that can kind of make your child feel bored if there's nothing that they need to do. I just think that it's a mindset that they have.
Right.
And I think to go into that topic, I think not that they want a phone because they need it. I think they want it because their friends have it.
Right.
So it's more of the peer pressure.
Peer pressure.
And I feel like today they know, hey, mama and daddy can afford it.
Right.
So let me ask for it. For me, when I used to, like, if I wanted something, like I needed a basketball sneakers, I'm looking, how can I get a $30, $40 basketball sneaker that's going to last me 3 years?
Right. Yes.
Here, it's
yes.
like, hey, I saw something on Amazon. It's $45. Daddy, can you order it?
Right.
So I feel like that technology has played a big role of what's out there. Like not just knowledge, but the, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like,
Ease of having things.
ease of having things. It's so out there. It's like one click away.
Yes.
It's like Amazon's one click buy. Forget going to shipping address. You just click once and it just shows up.
Yeah.
So I think that we didn't have that. I had to go to mall, 3 different stores in the mall to see what's the best shoes that I need.
Yeah.
So I think having too much is also not a good thing. It makes it harder for you as a parent.
Right. Absolutely. You guys remember that feeling? So when you guys knew that you're gonna have a first child, we had a very funny thing. So I have a child in me that I don't let it die. I still indulge. I do things which kids do. That's why I feel I connect with kids a lot quicker. When I see a kid, I don't approach it directly. If they don't like the space, I go around them. I let them be first, and I let Shivani, mine and kids, we both have big auras. So when big auras collide, it takes a while, right? But it's funny, when Shivani, when we had our first, we knew that we were going to have a baby. And obviously we were very excited, but behind the back, we were very nervous because firstly, we didn't have complete family around, where in India, I've seen when the kids grow up, myself, we had so much, my cousins and everyone around. Yeah. Here you don't have that access, right? You guys have any, what do you guys feel, parents or some people who are going to be new parents, what kind of situations they would go through, and what you feel is the best course of action when people say, to add to the question, like, okay, we compare very quickly that, okay, this parent, look, I want to be like that parent. Any take, Nikki?
Yeah,
Start with you.
a lot. I think we always compare ourselves to what we see online or with our friends. And we all know comparison is the thief of joy. It's hard to understand that in the moment because you see a kid on, moms posting their child successful, did something amazing achievement in school or, whatever it may be online, and you want your kid to be like that. But then in reality, when the reality hits, your child is throwing tantrums or having these breakdowns, or you feel like you can't do it all because it's so hard to manage work, your family life. You don't have a village here. You may or may not have a village. You may have in-laws. You may have parents that are helping out. But there's a lot of responsibility on both parents. You're managing your emotions. There's so much that we don't take into consideration when we're just seeing a picture online. So the reality is really tough. I think what really can help parents get through that is leaning on a village. It may not be your family. It may not be your friends even. It could be a community, maybe a spiritual community that you feel connected to, having that positive environment to surround yourself with. And that's going to help you through the ups and downs as well. Having those open conversations with your partner is so important. Aligning on your values as parents. I remember when we first found out that we were pregnant, it was a difficult journey for us to even have a child in the beginning. And then when we did have we found out we were pregnant, one of the first things I think somebody had gifted me during our baby shower was a parenting journal. And it was it was sort of a spiritually minded journal. And I loved that. It would be like a weekly sort of different topics on what kind of parent you want to be, what kind of values you want to instill in your child. And it covered so many different topics that I don't think we thought about. But for example, exposure to TV, exposure to social media, exposure to reading, exposure to positive influences, your community around you, reading positive things. And so what you can do in your influence as a parent is so important. And so for us, I think that was always something on the back of my mind when we first found out we were parents. And then that kind of can help you guide throughout your life. But of course, you're going to have all these challenges, right?
Yeah. And I think that there's always knowledge out there. Like you want to be certain way to your kids. But I think the biggest thing that I think is the most important is for the parent to be on the same page.
Right.
I think if the parents are not on the same page about anything, about social media, phone usage, eating habits, schedule, it could be what toys to buy them, what not to buy them.
Right.
So I think it's like if the two parents are not on the same page, I feel like no matter how hard you try, the outcome is not going to be what you had envisioned.
Right.
So I think the support, and so when Nikki told me, I still remember the day that she told me, I was like least expected. I come home from somewhere and she's like, hey, she put a sign on the door. I went inside and I just saw, the little setup she had. And I'm like, wait, are you serious? Yeah. I mean, that was just the beginning. The harder part actually came after, just knowing what type of parent you want to be.
Right.
And I think our generation, we learned from, our previous generations, our parents, their parents, like what did they do? What did they not do? What did we want them to do that they weren't there for, or they couldn't be there for because coming to America, leaving everything back, starting a fresh life here, working $5 an hour at a warehouse. Right. So I've seen all that. And obviously there's lack that I wish that I had from my parents, but I just feel like they were just so busy because they needed to do what they needed to do for our betterment 10 years, 20 years down the road.
Right.
But now we don't have those worries.
Right.
Right? Like majority of us don't have that worry, at least this generation in that sense.
We have our own different types of worries.
Own worries and own challenges. Correct. So when we were a parent, I still remember just talking to Nikki, I was like, as long as we're on the same page, we can shape the way that we want our child to be.
Right.
But if we're not on the same page, if you care about this and I'm against it, I'll support you eventually, but deep down, I'm not supporting you.
You'll not do it wholeheartedly.
Wholeheartedly, like vice versa. It would be the same thing.
Exactly.
No, let's say if I say no TV for, until 3 years old.
Right.
She'll agree with me. I think it's the right thing to do. Maybe she knows it, but she's not on board with it.
Right.
And we'll clash. When I'm not here, maybe she'll put it on for them and like, hey, mama, put it on for them. So I just feel like the husband and the wife need to be on the same page and having same alignment and same goals. Right. You have to come to a conclusion of what is the fine line.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important for the parent to be on the same page, and in order for your child to be the way that you want them to be in the right way.
Correct.
So I think that's very important.
Right. Now a very tough question. Both of you, anyone of you can take a lead on this. Is there a definition of a best parent? Can one person be a best parent? Is it a possibility?
Best in what sense?
When I look at a parent, oh, my parents are the best. I always say that, right? You say your parents are the best. You would say your parents are the best, right? Is there anything called as best? What is best? I want to be the best parent I can be. So we try to look at somebody like I admire couples. Now that I'm a parent, I look at them and I try to see how they are dealing with their kids. And a lot of times, what I do is even though I think that it might not be the right way, I never interject. I let them be who they are. Yeah. And then if I ever find the time with them, then I'll go and I'll, if the topic comes up, I will share my thoughts, okay, I might do it this way. Yeah. But I am not myself that same easy parent either. Yeah. I have so many flaws in me. And I feel parenting is like a lifelong journey that, until you're not there no more, you still, can you tell if you are the best parent or not?
I think being a parent is a full-time job, priority one, I think.
Right.
The secondary job is the financial aspect of it. I always think the best parent, I view parents who are best are those parents who build that relationship with their child as a friend rather than a parent and a son or a parent and a daughter or a father and a daughter. I think that's what I consider to be the best parent, is someone who's able to become their child's very good friend, where they're able to open up about anything in life, rather the good and the bad. Right. I think that is called the best parent in my opinion.
And I would agree with that. I'm just thinking about few parents that we know, we look up to them so much because they've raised their kids with positive values. They've raised them with the culture and, kind of the things that we also want to infuse in our kids, but also that positive mindset that they can do anything, they can achieve anything, they can be successful, and they will always have their back, no matter if they do maybe something they don't approve of or they dislike. But their kids, we're close to the kids as well, and They tell us, my mom is my best friend. I will tell her everything. They're going to college. If they go do something that their parents will probably not like, they will go tell their parents. And we're like, this is the kind of relationship we would envision to have. We're not there yet, but we would envision after a certain age. Right now it's, we want to have certain discipline and certain boundaries. Right. We want to, teach our kids right from wrong, and you have to be there. But when they go to college, we want to be there for them. Right. They need to know that we will always be there. And I don't know if you've seen, I talk about this a lot with Manan, but this video or this series on Netflix called Adolescence.
Yes. And I saw it in the first day straight up.
It was so touching.
It's so hard hitting.
Yeah. And I think if you're a parent and you have, especially if you have a boy or if you have a girl, you realize, and I resonated with it so much because I had very similar situation in high school where somebody in my class had brought a knife to school, was sitting next to me, and we were all like, what do we do? And we also had bullying going on. Social media wasn't that much of a thing, but we did have some of those instances, right? And we had some negative outcomes, like one, murder, and it was a lot of bad things in my high school, drugs and everything. And so I kind of was familiar with that kind of setting, and it's really hard as a child, as a teenager, to go through that. I didn't feel comfortable to tell my parents about that. There's so many things I still feel like I haven't told my parents. If they're listening, they'll probably, we'll have to have a conversation. But there was a lot of drinking, drugs, sex, and all of that in high school. And as a female growing up in a very tight community and sort of it's not strict, but, my parents were not the most open, modern parents at the time. So they wanted to protect us, right? So, I think going to college and kind of raising kids now, we kind of know some of those situations, like being there emotionally for your kid is so important. Right. I think our parents were struggling and navigating different situations and trying to protect us. But now I think for us, our priority is really being there emotionally for our kids, especially as they're going through those stages in life.
Yeah. No, I definitely attest to that. And I also do the same thing. Kids are different. So my elder one is quite emotional. But the only thing that I think I've cracked the code is that every time I give him a tight hug, even though he's crying loud, no matter what, he just, after a few seconds, he just lets go. He loses up the hands and everything. And that's when I know that, okay, now he's figuring it out. That's all he wanted, me to just be there,
Yeah.
be next to him, hug him, and then that solves the problem, right? But it took me a lot of time because I used to get irritated every time. I was like, why is he doing that? I would constantly ask Shivani, why is he doing that? Like, you didn't even say anything bad, but it's just he's evolving. He has so many emotions. He doesn't know how to read them, and that his instant trigger is just cry, and just gets emotional, teary eyes. So yeah, it's a learning process, right? Next question: a good cop, bad cop in parenting. Thoughts on that, Nikki?
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one. I think we've gone through that as well, where one of us is, disciplining the child and the other person kind of takes a back seat. But, at the end of the day, I think we have we're on the same page about the parenting. If there's a disciplinary action, or I guess consequences that needed to be taken. Usually he's the one that usually sits down with the kids and talks to them
Even
about
now?
the situation.
Yeah.
Even now. And because I think they have that respect level for him as well. And, I think it just helps. And, I think I probably coach him on the back end about things like, oh, you should say it this way, that way. But he takes a lot of that and incorporates that. But I don't know if we necessarily have a good cop, bad cop situation. I think we try to both be like on the same page about the, discipline at that time.
Okay.
I there's no good cop, bad cop, but I feel that 80% of the disciplining, having that conversation, just even emotional conversation. I think Nikki's have given me that honor. So thank you for that. But I just think that there's no good cop, bad cop where it's
Right.
like, okay, daddy said no, let me go to mama. There will be for certain things. Like I want an ice pop or
Right.
some. You just had 2 of them. Do you want a third one? Then I'll go to someone else. Like so, I think the kids figure a way out
Right,
what
they do.
works or what buttons to press.
And with Badada, it's
Badada.
always good cop.
It's always good cop.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
It's
And they
majority
always
of the time.
give
No
it.
matter how hard you try,
Yeah.
and then everything goes down in that one moment when they go and give it. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
no, we were supposed to teach him.
Yeah, it's like my
Why
mom,
not?
Yeah, it's like my mom one time was like, we just had so many sweets and stuff, and he will ice pop, and I come down, it's like he's having like another ice pop. I was like, Mom, why'd you give it to him? "Eh, pucha siya to sukaru. He asked me for it. How can I say no?
Yeah, same.
I'm like, wow. Like I wish I had that.
Samjhao
Yeah,
maine.
I wish I had that 20 years ago. Then puchu etle aap yu beta. It wasn't that, right? No, it's just. But yeah, the kids know how to get around it. But I think for us, there's no good cop, bad cop because they don't choose that. Hey, I'll go to mama and she'll say yes for
Right.
this, or I'll go to daddy. So there's not that. Like because I said we have a clear goal of what we want for our kids.
Right.
So I think we're on the same page of that.
And I think what we do is, I ask the child if they're asking for like extra ice cream or sweet, what did daddy say? And then I just go off of that. Like,
daddy
said no. And that's why they're coming to me. So I'm also going to go
Yeah,
on
and
daddy's
vice versa,
side.
yeah.
And then we'll talk after because we don't want to talk in front of the kids, right? Like
Right.
what decision was made or next time I would do this. And,
Right.
so
Yeah.
it's important to be a united front in front of
Yes.
your kids.
And I
I'm
mean,
going to
there
take that tip. I'm going to normally. Okay, so you finish your thought.
No,
first.
I was like,
you say
there were
something, yeah,
times
go ahead.
where there has been like I said no, like I didn't want it. So I come down and he's doing something or something that I didn't want him to do
Right.
at that time. I was like, "Why are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, mama said," and then at that time it's like, "Okay, we're on the same team."
Yeah. Yes,
So and then
yes.
it's been vice versa. I was like, oh, daddy said it. Okay, fine. Like even
Right.
though it's like she didn't want that to be okay at that point in time.
Right.
But I think the kid understands that there's no good cop, bad cop we're developing in that because it's like, oh, mama said, okay, then okay. As long as,
Right.
so I think we're not putting each other down. Like, oh, mama said, even though he wasn't supposed to be, mama doesn't know. Like, we don't kind of go into that to create that good cop, bad cop in their head.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. And it's very important for even for us and them, right? That it's, nobody's actually bad. Just because we're saying no, it doesn't mean you have to understand why that no happened in the first place. Yeah. So it's a funny story. So I've grown up with a lot of cousins. We have a big family on both the sides. My wife's side family, my side family, we have lots and lots of cousins, and I'm the eldest on both the sides, from my side of family. And one of my cousin few months ago, right? He just randomly asked me that, okay, they've literally grown up with me, and I've raised them as kids. And he asked me, how do you feel, being a parent and now you have 2 kids? And I tell them the hardest thing between raising you guys and my kids is that I had to say no. to my child. I never had to do with my cousins because I would take them for movies. Let's go movies. Play. Let's go out and play. I never had to tell them no for anything. And I felt I struggled with that for the longest. How can I say no to my kid? Even today, like if sometimes we go out and I'm like, okay, sure, let's go.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very difficult. But contrary, I'm the bad cop in my side.
Yeah.
Like if I have to say no to something, I have to be that person. Yeah. And I never thought in ever that I'll be that person. I was like, I'm Santa Claus. I'm supposed to spread happiness.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it changed.
He's the same because he used to, volunteer at the mandir and do a lot of work with kids. And, he organized a lot of activities for kids. He's always like with kids. He loves kids. But with our kids, it's different because you have to set some boundaries, right? And you want to teach them right from wrong. So it's different. But I think the hardest thing about parenting for us has been really just managing our relationship and keeping that strong. Because as you know, when you become parents, your life changes. It's not about each other. It's all becomes about the kids. Yes. And even from the morning you wake up to the morning you're sleeping, you're exhausted and you don't have that time for each other as much as, and it goes through phases, right? Because when they're young up till 5 or they go to school, you're really busy with them. But that seems to be the hardest stage. I think we're now kind of getting past that stage. Both the kids are going to school. So we're kind of reconnecting and finding our relationship again. But I think that I think is the hardest part of parenting in the beginning. Yeah.
So let's talk about that. By the way, I'm going to put if you don't know who Nikki is and who Manan are, you're probably one of the last people who are left to know them because they are big on Instagram. And I'm going to put all the links. Let's talk about that. I think you gave me a cue. Talk about that aspect of parents that once you have child, you don't have life. All your life goes towards kids. That's not true. I mean, you need to have time for each other as well. Otherwise, that doesn't go right? Can you talk about that a little bit? Because your Instagram is like filled with like ways and techniques and everything you talk about. And you share it in such a nice way. Can you share light on that question?
Yeah, and I read somewhere recently that between the first 2 to 4 years of your child's life, half the couples express a desire for separating or divorce. And there's so many changes that happen in your life. You're physically responsible for another human being and you love them, you want to care for them. And that also sometimes creates conflict or tension because when you don't have that time or you don't have that energy to really spend with the other person, that can create that separation. And then some of your worst qualities come out. I think we all have good hearts. We all are good people, but we sometimes have our, what do you call swabhavs? Breaking points or our personalities that come out. Like, when you're trying to give me some parenting advice, like, oh, why did you put the TV on? I attack back with you, well, you don't understand. I'm just so tired. It's just the easiest thing to put in front of the child at that time. Yeah. Or with mealtime. There's so many opportunities for conflict when a child comes into your life and also not as many opportunities to connect. So we have to be, for us, we see a lot of parents, a lot of families that are in a similar stage of our life as well, also struggling. And so we thought we were the only ones. We're struggling with our relationship, but turns out almost everybody is struggling in this phase of life, and it's normal. And it's normal to seek help. It's normal to, talk about it. It's normal. We should normalize it. Our parents didn't talk about, they probably had struggles. They never talked about it. We are in a different phase. We are a little bit more open, but still like mental health and all of that is still a struggle. I think now we are learning so much about relationship and how to improve and just be better because we want, we're both willing to kind of make our relationship stronger because we want to be a better example for our kids. And there's so many things that I think we never learned because it was never modeled to us from our parents. Yes. And now we want to be better. We want to be a better version of ourselves. And so it takes time, it takes a lot of, it takes that daily effort. So that's one of the reasons that we talk so much about relationship because in the South Asian community, we don't talk about how hard it is. And there's also opportunities to work on it. It takes two people and there's certain skills that you need in relationships that can help with conflict. There are certain skills that you need to model for your kids, and we are actively working on it and trying to share that with the world as well.
Right.
I mean, I think
Rome wasn't built in a day, so it takes time
it does.
to evolve.
I think it takes time for both to get to that stage,
Right.
the negative side, and to come back from that negative side to the side that you want to be on, or what you envision to be on.
Right.
So it's not like the year one when we became parents, first month, our relationship basically took a turn.
Right.
Right? Priorities change. We want to figure out I think that they say you need first years is you're in a survival mode.
Right.
Do whatever you need to do to learn about the child, to kind of take care of them, making sure that the child has what it needs, and that's when I think that relationship drifts apart. You don't know it.
Right.
You don't know it because you're so busy, occupied with this human being that you want to take care of. You don't realize it, but everything is about the child.
Right.
You want to go to a grocery run. When can I go? When's the nap time? When is not the nap time? So every decision in your life about simplest thing is like going to take a shower. I want to, when. So it's just everything is decided on when
Right.
when you have that time and ability. Or can you watch him for 5 minutes? I just need to go run to the bathroom. Can you watch 10 minutes? I just need to make some food.
Right.
So it's always like that. And I think that spark with your spouse kind of goes away,
Right.
unwanting or unknowingly. And then when you're at that phase 3, 4, 5 years down the road, now it's like, what happened?
Right.
Like, this is not the old us. This is a new us that we don't want it to be.
Yes, correct.
So I think it's that it happens unknowingly. And
Right.
she said, no one does it on purpose. It's not like I have a plan that after I get married, after I have a kid, I'm going to be this way.
Yes.
Right? At least you have that vision and be like, this is what my family to be. And this is where I want to be. So I think it just happens unknowingly. So I think the biggest thing is kind of having that grace and having that mindset about that someone is not doing that intentionally.
Right.
And I think a step forward would be to what she said is we don't do that in the South Asian community, is talk about it.
Yeah.
So our parents, I've never seen my parents kind of talk about a conflict where you sit down and have a solution-oriented conversation, at least not in front of me.
Right.
So it's like if something's bothering them, or they said something in a rude way or something, it's becoming a trend.
Right.
So what you think to do, you always tell just forget it, forgive and forget. If you just forget it, the time will heal the situation. I don't think that's true. I strongly disagree with that, where time does not heal anything unless you've talked about it, then time will heal what it needs to be.
Right.
So
Yes.
I don't think without talking about it, it heals. It just never happens, because when it happens even 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or next week, that snowball is much bigger now than it was before.
Yes.
So I think the biggest thing is first is understanding and accepting that your relationship has changed,
Right.
right? And second thing is, what are we going to do to fix that? What steps are we going to take?
Right.
So we've had our challenges where we felt completely disconnected for each other.
Right.
We had that pre-child phase was no longer a thing. So we've actually had a very hours of conversations. And I think the important part is that we both were open to hearing it out, because we both felt similar things.
Right.
Where I used to do things for her, which I don't do anymore, because it's not even in my head that I was supposed to do that anymore.
Correct.
Because I was so practiced of not doing it where I don't do it anymore, and vice versa.
Right.
So I think that first is awareness,
Right.
which wasn't there in South Asian community. And that's why I think a lot of her posts are about normalizing things,
Yes.
right? Normalizing having a deep conversation, having an uncomfortable conversation, having a conversation that you never thought you were going to ever have in your life, because you
Yeah.
just thought that this is how it's supposed to be. It can never be this way.
Right.
Like we thought it would be like a Bollywood movie.
Yeah.
We love Bollywood. We would
Yeah.
watch all the Bollywood movies, and it's not
like that.
Reality is not like that.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
So I think we've come a long way.
Yes.
Just from the last 3-4 years, I would say. Our daughter is 4. Our son is 6. So we've started having a lot of struggle. Plus, a lot of stuff happens in life that you're just not expecting. Moving, new job, new house, renovation, this, project, investment. It's just so much that you're bombarded with today.
Right.
It's not like 9 to 5 now.
Correct.
It's not like you go to work at 9
There is no
o'clock,
9
you
to
come
5.
at 5, and your brain shuts down from what you were doing at work.
Right.
And
Now
then
it's-
you have social media, and then you're comparing your relationship with all these. Although these couples are going on a date night, they're doing this and that, and we're probably part of. I always tell them like we probably contribute to some of that, but hopefully we're also sharing some information.
But you are doing it on a positive, with a positive intent.
Yeah, positive intent. I think sometimes it's like I've shut down my social media for like 6 months in the middle. This is just last year. I just think that sometimes like social media, I think we're on a different topic, but like it just gives you like false hope or false expectations. Like there's so much knowledge. Like we talked about a child. Remember, like there's so much knowledge out there today, so it's harder to be a father or a parent.
Yes.
So today it's so much knowledge out there, it's even harder to be a spouse.
Yeah.
Like you see reels about like how you can talk to your spouse or what you should do for your spouse or how you should talk. If someone says something rude way, how can you turn that around? It's just, what do you focus on?
It's like psychological, something that,
Pressure.
and then because, why am I not like that?
Yeah. Or why isn't the other person like that?
You don't talk about it, but you think about it.
Yeah.
And the thought is all it needs
Yeah.
to let you go on the wrong track.
Yeah,
and
100%.
then
So I think it's just, so I was like, let me stop. I was like, let me focus on the 3 important things
Right.
that I know that I can work on rather than working on 20 different things. Because I can't do that. It's not possible because that means I need myself to be a different person now.
Right.
And it's so hard to change your style,
Correct.
Your ways and whatnot. So I think that puts a false perspective sometimes too. It depends on what you want out of it, right?
Right.
So, but going back to the relationship aspect of it, where I think one is just being aware,
Right.
and second thing being open to talking about it, and third, let's find solutions.
Right.
So I think because a lot of conversations we used to have before, we kind of changed. It's just like, you don't do this, you don't do this, you do this, I want this, that. It was never about just kind of, let's figure out what's the issue, what's the solution, and what is the timeline we're giving ourselves.
Right.
So that's why we did this, every year, twice, we'll go on a just like a getaway.
Right.
We'll go to some resort, or we go to just a trip in the city, just like for us to connect. And then I think small things that kind of disappeared, going for a walk to talk. Right. Or just like going afternoon sometime, all right, let's go get some coffee. Let's just connect. I think those small things that we stopped doing, which thought it was the biggest issues or lack of not doing that, that changed our mindset of being negative automatically. Not that you want to,
Right.
but just happened that way. So I think post-kids relationship takes a big toll. And I just think that at least fortunately we were able to kind of be on the same page of just let's talk, figure out what needs to be done, and let's try to act on it slowly, but not with a gun at each other's face, but obviously with the support, like, you know what, it's like giving the grace that, you know what, no one's doing it on purpose, but having that positive intent and just having that positive type of mentality as well.
Right. One of the things, and off the camera when we were talking, was I think you asked Nikki, right? Like where do I want to go with this, right? With this podcast, I want to go to areas which we normally will not talk about. And again, the perspective is always to learn. Keep an open mind. I'm curious about it. Even in our culture, so let's talk about a little bit about men's health, right? And it's I feel like now it's has improved a little, but at least I can say. And every time we talk about men's health, like if you will talk about from your perspective, how you were grown up, what you have seen that shapes you up as a man. I feel like for me, everyone subconsciously is like it's wired that way, right? You look at your dad. And unknowingly, you will have traits of your dad. No matter how much you fight it, you will take something from it, right? Mental health, right? Some people are emotional. There was a time, macho is the word.
Macho.
I want to talk about that. What's wrong with people?
Well, I'm not macho. She can.
I
say
cry
that.
and it's just honest of things.
Yeah.
He's had too many surgeries. We have to take care of him.
I'm talking about emotional aspect of it. Forget physical aspect of it. There's like surgeries like
everywhere. Yeah.
But I think I don't consider myself to be macho. Sometimes do I feel like I need to be? Yeah. In society, in front of my friends, in front of my parents, or in front of my child.
Right.
But I don't consider myself to be macho in where nothing bothers me.
Right.
I'm just, no matter what things that doesn't go my way, even if it's the right reasonings, I'm not going to feel upset. I think that's macho, where I feel there's different definitions of macho. There's a physical aspect of it and then the emotional aspect of it as well.
Right.
I'm not macho in both.
I'm in neither. I'm on either side either.
So I don't consider myself to be macho, because I think what's helped me is I've seen, our previous generations. I see them as macho. The reason I see them as macho is because they're never expressed their feelings.
You're talking about
Parents.
dads.
My parents, their parents,
Okay.
my family members, my uncles. Like,
Yep.
I've seen, like, there's no expressing emotions. I've seen where they fight and they just walk away
Yeah, they
and
give up.
expect things are going to be okay the next morning.
Yeah, they don't talk.
And things are okay the next morning, at least from what it appears.
Right,
But inside, I don't think that's true,
right.
right? Because, like I said, it doesn't take one day for your relationship to change in a negative way, and it doesn't take one day for it to come back to the positive way. It's months, years
Constant.
of experiences,
Right.
and it just builds a snowball.
Right.
So I don't consider myself to be macho. I'm very emotional, and I am more about, I want to talk about it. Because what makes me feel, what makes me want to be good again without having baggage in my head or that negative thought is me talking about it, me telling, just having that conversation, erase what just happened, and let's just focus on the next steps.
Right.
That's how I'm wired. And I am wired not because of what was portrayed to me, it's because what wasn't portrayed to me.
Right.
Like what I see my uncles, my mom, my dad, the older people, the previous generation, they didn't model that, like Nikki said.
Right.
So for me, it's like, why do I want to be the best father or best person to my child?
Right.
It's because I feel like in today, with so much out there, it's going to be so much harder for that child to
Right.
cope with things.
When they
Right?
grow older, yes.
When they grow older. She talked about college. I'm thinking my middle school.
Me too.
So
I
when
didn't
she
bring it
said-
up, but
I was thinking, I was going to interrupt. Like, hey, you sure you mean what you're going to be worried when you get your child into college? I'm worried when he gets into 5th grade.
Yeah.
Right. So for I don't think the older generation had that of an issue because there was not, like you said, social media wasn't a thing.
Right.
Right. Even if you wanted to use the internet, you had to make sure no one's on a phone line in your house because it's a dial-up internet connection that this kid they will never know.
Yeah.
Like if I'm on the phone, someone's calling, like mom's like, I hang up, I need to make a phone call. I gotta disconnect my MSN internet. Mom makes a 5-minute phone call, and I go back, and I'm lucky if the internet comes back in again.
Yes.
So I feel like, so going back to like macho, I don't consider myself to be that. Sometimes what I want to be, I think, because sometimes not giving it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Like it'll make me a happier person. But if you really think about it, will it really?
Right.
That's not going to grow in your relationship with anyone, your friends, your family, your wife, your kids. So I think sometimes I'm thankful for the older generation to kind of indirectly teach me by not practicing, because now I want to do that even more because I haven't seen that.
Right.
Because if I did see that, I thought, my parents could have had a better relationship. My other family members could have had a better relationship with their child, with their spouse, with their friends, or even their own family or cousins.
Right.
So I just think that, indirectly, it's like I'm thankful for teaching me by not showing it.
Right.
But I think it's, I think mental health for men is just very important now because the girls can have their own little girly chats and talk about it. Like it's very common.
Right.
I'm never I haven't had any deep conversations with my best friend that I know for 20, 30 years.
Right.
We just don't do that. We're not wired to do that. Should it be normal? Yeah, because you need that support system to kind of just, because everyone's struggling.
Yes.
Everyone's struggling with their own challenges.
Right.
But men are expected to just keep it in, where just the norm is
Yeah.
not to talk about it. They'll go out for a movie or they'll go out to play basketball or pickleball. And I ask him, like, do you guys talk about deep conversations? No, we just talk about ball and we just talk about sports. And I'm like, you should ask your friends, like, how really was your day today? What's going on? What's going on with your life? Like, there's a whole trend right now about calling your friend, calling your bros. Call your bro and just
That's
call
not
him.
macho.
That's not macho, but
It's not macho.
you
That's
are a
not.
recycle breaker, and we're gonna do that.
It's
for
the society,
for our kids.
Nikki. It's not us.
It's not.
It's
It's
society. We're gonna change that.
You are going to lead that. And you are doing that, and that's why it's so important, right? That I think Manan brought up a point about that communication. So when he said elders, they used to walk away. There was never a communication. Now it's so much going to be harder now because now kids can talk back, and they have logic. They have, because they found logic from somewhere, and they are giving you some very interesting points. And me, I'm as an elder, I'm going to have to sit there and listen.
Yeah.
It's not that, okay, I said it, so just go ahead and do it, right? Do you feel, I mean, do you feel that elders also would have feared at that time that, what if they are ask me something very rational and I will not have an answer to them?
I don't think they cared about providing an answer. I think it was more power. I'm telling you,
I couldn't go to prom because I was the oldest girl in my siblings, and anything that if I stepped out of the house, it was bad. If I go talk to a boy, my younger brother, who would not do that again, but he used to tell my parents on me that, oh, Nikki talked to a boy at school. And so then I'd get in trouble for that. But prom, couldn't ask them to go to those types of things because just the negative connotation, but it was more power, right? But now I think it's a good thing kids being able to give the kids opportunity to share their points. It also trains them how to, have those skills of persuasion and all that. It's good to listen, but then also talk to them about your points and maybe come to the middle about something. And I think as you're growing with your kids, especially when they get to middle school, high school, you have to probably give into some things as well, because you want to allow them to do certain things, take the risks, but also you being there to kind of be there like, okay, yeah, I trust you to take this risk, but just know the consequences.
Right.
And I also think that when she said about the kid, the power, like when you ask something, the parents or the father will be like, no, because I said so. Like, I think now it's like when your kid talks back, I have this mindset. Like, sometimes there have been many times where my son, I was like, son, you can't. But Daddy, how come you can for certain things?
All right.
Like, I think it's good. Like, I'm kind of happy that my son, because I don't consider that as him talking back. He's just being very realistic.
Right.
So
and very aware.
We're very aware
right.
that the main thing he's talking about is like, well, if I can't do it, why can you do it? Why should you do it? It's like drinking soda.
Right. Yes.
So the question, every time I was like, oh, son, this is soda. You can't have that right now. Well, why can you have it? Like, then it's just like, I don't find it as disrespect. Actually, it makes you humble too.
Right.
Like, oh no, okay, fine. Like, and certain things like, oh, you know what, son, you're right here. Like certain things. Like I saw a video. There was a mom in the car at a Starbucks ordering coffee. And she's ordering coffee, and the child in the back, it's like, Mommy, can I get a cookie too? And then she's like, no, we have cookies at home. And the girl's like, we have coffee at home.
Wow.
So the mom's like, you're right. You know what? I didn't think about it that way. The mom didn't argue or like, because I'm an adult, I can have it.
Yes.
My father would have sauld that.
Yeah, my father would
have said that. He wouldn't even answer the question. Forget that. But like, the mother said that. And it's like, okay, I'll take one cookie as well to the order.
Right.
So if you think about it, like, it's not about power at that time. Right. Mom could have said no, but it's like going back to that, what makes you a successful parent?
Right.
I think I look at that, being willing to accept when you're wrong, like to the child.
Acceptance, right.
Because it's like letting go of your ego.
Right.
Or I can fight it.
Yes.
But if I fight it, the kid knows that my dad was not right. But you know what? Out of respect, I just had to agree to him because he's my father. Then that relationship is completely different.
I remember when I went through a very difficult time in college, and it was about our relationship. My parents weren't open or accepting of it. I had a lot of mental health concerns and issues at that time because you don't want to disappoint your parents. You want to make them happy. But then you also are, you want to be in this relationship. And my mom was very against it in the beginning. And then she finally, was open to it. I don't think she apologized, but she was, open to like, okay, you know what? Like, willing to kind of meet me where I was, right? And that changed everything. I think that point, because up until then, my relationship with my mom was really challenging. I feel like I couldn't open up to her, and I couldn't talk to her. I couldn't tell her there was so many like drugs and alcohol and peer pressure I was dealing with, but I didn't feel confident to share some of those things with her.
Not because of me. I wasn't doing any of those things. Just want to clarify that.
Not him, not pointing to him. But, I would never want that for my child. There's probably things that they're going to do that I wouldn't agree with, or I would be disappointed.
Right.
But I think we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna have to let them take some risks. Also, let them know that there's consequences, and you're gonna be responsible for those consequences. But
Right.
at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're there for them emotionally. Like, maybe our parents were there, but in some phases it didn't
Right.
feel like they were
Not
there.
for the things that we wanted them to be there for.
Right.
So like I feel like we have these type of conversations a lot because we've volunteered for children's activities at the temple for BAPS, and I've been involved since the year 2000.
Okay.
I've done like volunteering, just taking care of children's activities from anywhere from grades 1 through grade 8. I
Right.
did it for 21 years. I still remember we're taking about like 200 kids to like Orlando, and they're 3, 4, 5, like 5th grade, 4th grade. Like, I still remember me having to call their parents because a kid just needs to be comforted. So I'm like, things have come around where you don't see that. Now it's like my son, if I want him to be released from the school, I have to go there, sign a paper, and when the child comes to the office, is this your father? Like,
Yeah.
before, I remember when I was in 5th grade, you're sick, they take your temperature, you can go. I used to walk home.
Right.
So I think going back to like, I volunteered for these children's activities, and I've seen the conversations the child has had with their parents,
Right.
good and bad. So I think that I've learned a lot from what not to do,
Right.
because I've seen their relationship now. Like, I
Right.
know the outcomes 15 years later, 20 years later, what it is.
Right.
So I feel like I'm very conscious about that. Like, why do I want to be a friend to my son? Because in 10 years, when he has the flexibility to choose walking away from home and just live his life
Right.
and not have anything to do with me, or walking away to school, have his own life, but have me in his life.
Right.
Because you can't stop the college, going to school. That doesn't mean he's going to go to school in New Jersey. My kids, they may go across the other country, or even
Right.
other countries.
Right.
So I think that aspect you can't remove. But I think the only thing that you can kind of shape is for being there for them. Like she said, not telling them what you can't do,
Right.
but telling them what's the right thing to do. You have the flexibility to do what you want to do, but just do understand that this is, the like some of this, like, it could be, we're gonna have very uncomfortable conversations maybe 5-10 years from now with our kids.
Right.
Like, I think if like our parents, it's like her saying like, oh, you can't date Manan,
Right.
right? Let's say a year later she doesn't want to date me,
Right.
but she's still gonna think I want to date because you know what? Why can someone tell me no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think that changes the relationship. It's like the power aspect comes in, right? It's like the mother who said, oh, you can have the cookie because you make sense.
Right.
You're right. It's like, are we willing to do that for our kids?
Yeah.
So I think that in South Asian, especially like Gujarati Indians, at least that's what I know for the most, it's that option. Those educational conversations have never happened with their kids.
Right.
At that. No, my parents have never taken a time out and told me, the right and the wrong, or the good and the bad, or you know what, like, I trust you. There's never like,
Right.
it's never done. They've never been that route,
Right.
or they felt like, courageous to like kind of say, hey, I want to talk to my kids about that.
Right.
So I feel like that is very important for your child to kind of say that my parent is a friend. My parent is not telling me what not to do. My parent is just educating me on what's the right thing to do and leaving the choice up to me.
Right.
So I think that comes a long way. Like, I think in order for you to have that trust built into your kid or your child, that kind of that dividend is paid off in 20, 30 years after that.
And I think the other aspect is not just what you can control in your own home, but the environment that your child grows up in
Right.
is going to probably influence the most outside of parenting, because most of the time they're going to spend is outside of your home. Yeah. So that's one of the things that we're looking to be more conscious of, as well as the kids get older. They're going to make new friends in elementary school, middle school, but also going to Mandir has been a huge help for us in
Right.
our life, because we grew up with a positive community. I always, I've had friends from when I was 10, 15 years, baby almost. and we're lifelong friends that we kind of went through all the stages of life together. I think for our kids, we would also want them to kind of have that spiritual grounding, because when you go through challenges in life, sometimes you don't want to go to your parents. You want to go to your friends. And what if your friends are not always the best company?
Correct.
I know for Manan, he was lucky. He had some swamis that he used to talk to about his personal challenges, and they were able to guide him. When I was going through my own challenges, I had written letters to my guru at the time, Pramukh Sai Maharaj, about college, or even with our relationship, I was struggling. I wrote a letter to him, and just kind of feeling that comfort outside of my parents and outside of my friends who may not always be looking out for the best for me at that time. So I think, in this day and age, modern parenting, modern Indian parenting, that cultural or spiritual aspect is sometimes falling out of being cool.
Right.
But also the mindfulness and just being more emotionally aware, all of that is in our spiritual roots. All of that is in our cultural roots. And we're bringing that back in more of a modern fusion way, but this is all that's part of our culture as well.
Right.
And it's so important for anybody that is, we're all going to go through struggles in life. We went through a lot of struggles in our relationship, in our journey as well. So many of our friends have gone through similar journeys. I'm sure you all have as well. And having that sort of mindfulness, that spirituality just helps so much. And sometimes we don't realize it until it's too late. Like, we didn't even talk about my daughter when she was born. I almost died during childbirth. I had a very traumatic childbirth, and it was because of faith. It was because of that spirituality that kind of kept him especially grounded, because I was in the operating room, having surgery for 3 hours, but for him to have that spirituality kind of infused in his mindset to help him get through that situation where he didn't know if his wife was going to make it or not. And even after that, we had some challenges as well with childbirth and all of that. But it just, you never know when that is going to be helpful in your life.
Right. And all of these things add up when you think about it. That's why I have some fondness and attraction towards BAPHS, because the Swamis, first of all, they are there, but when you actually get to sit with them, when Chaitanya Murthy Swami came here for recording, right? Of course, he was on a tight time schedule, and I wanted to make sure that I'm able to ask him so much. I still had to ask him so much, but then there's always next time. But what happened after we stopped recording, and then I think we had a conversation for more than an hour, hour and a half. We were just sitting here, we were just chatting, and he was sharing some stories, and just to understand life from his lens was very, very amazing to me, because the perspective he was putting in, I would not think like that. We get too greedy, but again, he explained, because he doesn't have moh and all that from this world, so he has nothing to lose. But even in real life, once your thought process becomes like that, it just creates magic.
100%.
Start thinking like that. Okay, what is the worst that's going to happen? Right? Why do I worry? Like, do I know what's going to happen if I take 10 steps from here, and what's going to? No, I don't know. Then why worry about what has not happened yet?
It's easier said than done, though.
It's very easy.
I think for you to just say, like, whatever happens, like this past Sunday, Pujya Gnanvatsal Swami, he's a very famous speaker from BAPS. He does a lot of seminars, and he actually talked about, just simple life lessons. And I think I was like, I think these are things I need to improve on. Like some things, like it's just so, like we know it, but it's just hard to implement those.
Yes.
But then I think when you listen to these type of like speeches or positive motivation, he talked about that you need to, like, goal number one in life is be the best at your workplace. Right. You just that's your goal. Like, be the best person, do the hardest thing ever, whether you're working for a company that's $1 million or $1 trillion. You want to make sure that you put your 100% absolute into it. Right. Obviously, with not sacrificing your family and everything, just making sure that you are devoted, where your work ethics are 100% where it's supposed to be, the way that you would be for your kid. Right. And it's like, that's step number one. Step number two is, whatever happens after that, it's not under your control. Right. It's like it's Bhagwan the Icha. It's God's wish. Yeah. So it's like you come to an understanding of that. Right. And when something bad happens, or something that happens that doesn't align with your goals, then you won't be disappointed. Correct. So like when she talked about, childbirth. Like that 3-4 hours for me not to know what's happening. An hour into me taking my daughter, I'm sitting with my daughter where my wife hasn't come out for an hour. Usually, because our first child is also through a C-section, so we know, hey, 45 minutes, my wife should be back with us.
Right.
The doctor comes to visit me and tells me about, hey, we're having complications, and my goal is to save your wife's life. And I'm just kind of shocked. I'm like, what's happening? Like, I thought the baby was good. I said bye to my wife because I was leaving. Like, she saw me leave with the baby. So, but long story short, the first call that I made was with the Swami that I knew since 1996. Not my father, not my mother, not anyone, not my friend, no one. I was like, Swami, this is the situation. This is the complications. The doctors are trying to, figure that out. And the goal is obviously to save my life. They've called another surgeon. It was a Sunday. They called another surgeon to help with this. There's about 3 surgeons working on it, and there's about 12 people in that operating room. So just getting that comfort from him is like, you know what? Like, first is, look, whatever, like, we're going to pray. Everything's going to be perfectly fine. Right. I'm going to pray right now in front of, the murtis of Bhagwan, and just know that this is going to be a distant memory in the near future. Right. Just kind of having that comfort, because at that point, if I call my mom, 20 questions are going to be asked. What happened? What happened? What happened? Like, I don't know. Like, at that point, I need that comfort to have that stability in my mind, not trying to answer the questions that I don't have answers to. Right. So I think what's helped us is that this spiritual involvement, just having this knowledge, because we don't get that in school. Right. We don't get that. I hang out with my friends. I have friends that don't go to the mandir. They're not like, we don't have these conversations about how we could keep our mind stable in the hardest times. Right. No one teaches you that.
Staying steady is like, it's important.
So I think like talking like these swamis or good company, like if I call my friend and if I've had, because our goals, our mindset aligns, you're going to give me that positive reinforcement. Right. Or why did this happen? I don't know why. Like, we're just going to keep questioning why this is happening to us. Right. Rather than, what? You try your best. Right. Everything else that happens is under, that's Bhagwan Icha, that's God's wish. Yes. Doesn't mean it's bad. Right. But the God will, like, she's here sitting with me right now, perfectly fine. Yes. Right. At that point, it was hard for me. Right. Like, I was just like trying so hard not to cry. I was trying to be macho at that point. Yes. Right.
But you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable, right?
Exactly.
That's and that's absolutely okay.
Yeah, it's okay to cry, and I've cried countless amount of times in my life.
The things that I cry for, you will be amazed.
Example?
I can sometimes cry on cue. Huh? I can sometimes cry on cue. Like something happens and I get very emotional. But what my parents did for me was, my dad never asked me to stop crying and man up. He never did that.
That's awesome.
And I had seen my dad cry. I had cried with my dad. He passed away in 2017, right? When he, and that 1 year was very, very, very stressful for me in terms of, like, how you have Swami, you call him, right? I used to call my dad instantly. Any problem, call my dad. Awesome. And that short burst of that moment that you need, like you said, it's harder said than done. That if I don't know what's going to happen, why worry about it, right?
Exactly.
All right. So now we're going to talk about this.
Her baby,
the book,
her third baby,
and Home Shanti. Home Shanti is, when I was going through the Instagram and I was looking at, trying to understand it, it just gives short bursts of those moments, because it has to be constant. Once Nikki said, or you said something in that post, doesn't mean that I'm going to remember that after, like, let's say a couple of days, but there is this regular positivity that you keep feeding via that page. Or you start talking about like life and everything. That is amazing to me, and I think that's why you have so much of people who follow you, because you are doing that hard part for us when you are thinking about all that, right? So let's talk about that. How did you come up with this site? How did this bug start?
So I've always been interested in I think I started social media on being public on social media after our daughter was born, really to just share, kind of our story and a little bit of, hopefully maybe someone will resonate with it and maybe they'll learn something that we wish we knew at that time. Like, I wish I knew about the childbirth, the challenges, mental health and all of that. So I started sharing a little bit about that. Then I also started talking a little bit about living with in-laws. So we live with his parents, and as you can imagine, everyone has different personalities. We all different personalities. Sometimes we clash. With in-laws, it's also sometimes difficult and you can clash. So we've been living together for 10 years. And so we struggled a little bit through the years. We've had our high points. We've also had our low points. And when I started talking about some of the challenges, a lot of people were asking, oh, well, I'm glad you're talking about this because I'm also struggling. How do you overcome this? And so one of the things I shared, because I don't just like to talk about the problem, I like to talk about the solution as well, or some ideas. So one of the things I started talking about is doing Ghar Sabha, which is a practice that we had dabbled into a little bit, but we started focusing on it a lot more in the last few years. And that has really transformed my relationship with my mother-in-law. And he knows because he used to mediate a lot of these conversations between the both of us. But Ghar Sabha is not a new concept that I made up. The credit, it really goes to our Guru Pramukh Sai Maharaj. And he had given this sort of medicine that Ghar ki dawa is Ghar Sabha. So any challenges that you have in your family, it can be resolved or at least lessened if you have communication. And the only way we all talk about communication, we all need to communicate better, but to make it a habit and I see this in so many self-help books. Once you make habit or micro habit, then it sticks with you. So Ghar Sabha is a simple solution that he gave. And it seems so simple, like, oh, we all live in one family, we should all be communicating, but there's still so many miscommunications that happen, or communication only happens about logistics, who's getting groceries, who's making the food, what's for dinner and all of that, right?
Right.
So Ghar Sabha is really just a concept where you sit together as a family once a week. And for us, it was used to be Wednesday weekly Ghar Sabha. And the mandir actually provides a syllabus as well. So it would give you a topic of a spiritual story, have discussion questions, and we used to talk about it as a family. But obviously not everybody resonates with the Swaminarayan, stories or the prasang. So then, when people are asking me, oh, could you share more about that? I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can kind of tweak it up a little bit and incorporate more of Hinduism or Indian cultural stories, and also modern parenting, because I was really into Dr. Becky Goodinside, and I used to read so many parenting books and incorporating the lessons that we learn from our culture, but also how you can apply that in the modern day parenting. So for example, this guide that I had created is, inspired by Pramukh Sai Maharaj, but to really bring that habit of family meetings into more Indian families that can relate to it. So every month there's a different chapter and it has a theme. So for example, February is month of love because it's Valentine's Day. So there's a story of Yashoda and Krishna Bhagwan, and the story of the rice, where Yashoda just had that love for Krishna Bhagwan, and Krishna Bhagwan accepted his rice, even though it was, maybe not the cleanliest or the most richest gift that you can give, but just shows that love doesn't have to be expressed in grand gestures. It can be just through that offering and that feeling of devotion. And so then that story, it's very simple, kids can relate to it. So it's very oriented towards families with kids. We have discussion questions as well. So what can we learn from this? How can you apply it in your life? What can we do to show our love? Then also we have one thing that's always incorporated is a gratitude jar. And I think in our daily life we tend to focus on the negative. This coffee's not good, or this the work at something happened. But focusing on that gratitude, especially with kids now, is something that we try to practice. So gratitude jar, and then every month also has a different activity. So for February, it's it's a love language challenge with your kids, and so it's just different activities.
It's in this book?
It's in this book. So it's a 12-month syllabus, digital copy, and also now Amazon also has it as well. But just some opportunity for families to connect and provide that time, and also you don't have to think about it. You just
it's just down,
right there, and you just Manan usually he'll do the questions, mom will tell the story, I'll print out the activity, and then everybody will just sit and talk. And I think it's made our family life a lot better, and helped us communicate better, because some of the things in there is about communication, understanding emotions. And in-laws, parents, they never talked about better communication strategies or emotions. So through this, it's also helped them open up and be open to having these conversations.
So I think the reason Pramukh Swami Maharaj created this Ghar Sabha, people used to write letters to him. Like, I can write letters, anyone. He's written and read countless and like.
Right.
So what 90% of the letters were about challenges.
Right.
I have this issue. I have issue with my wife. My kids don't listen. My cousin brother took my property and he won't basically. All the situation was just about problems. And I think the common denominator is lack of communication.
Right.
Or you don't want to communicate. Like if I don't get along with my, let's say I had a brother and like my own brother in my house, I will not talk to him. Right? Because, and what is step number one to overcome that challenge? Talk to him.
Yeah, correct.
So
have a conversation.
Have a conversation. And what conversation? Hi, hello? No, there has to be something where you both can kind of pick each other's brain and just talk.
Right.
So the Ghar Sabha Pramukh Swami Maharaj created is not for Swaminarayan alone. Yeah, there's like Ram Bhagwan stories in there, other stories in there, when there's Janmashtami Krishna Bhagwan story in there, Mahabharata. But again, I think the point and the goal of Pramukh Swami Maharaj is, and we've seen a lot of good results from people who've on the verge of husband-wife just ready to sign on a divorce paper. They started Ghar Sabha and just communicating slowly, and that was not even, like they didn't even go through with the divorce.
Wow.
Two brothers not talking, so what it is in common denominator is just lack of communication or not wanting to communicate.
Right.
So step one is communicate. So that's why he created Ghar Sabha. What do you do in Ghar Sabha? Simple, like Niki said, you sing some doon, like spiritual something. You read a story or watch a video or something that's motivational where you can then say, all right, we read a story about Krishna Bhagwan helping Draupadi when there was a Vastraharan, where, like the whole Dushashan story. From that story, then there'll be questions. What can we learn from that story?
Right.
One, it's like you should always think of Bhagwan.
Right.
You should always think of Bhagwan when you need help. You should always pray. Draupadi prayed, so Bhagwan helped.
Right.
So like, I think the small things, just kind of bringing in these topics, so that way you're kind of getting out of that uncomfortable mindset of, I don't want to talk to this person.
Right.
So I think what in today's society, when we have issues, when people have marriage issues or anything, or any issues with your parents, anything, the thing that we don't want to do is give up our ego and talk.
Right.
Because you know what? The silent treatment is the best treatment. Right? Because that's what...
It's the easier way out.
Easier way out.
Yeah.
No matter how much it bothers you inside.
Right.
But you know what? I'm not going to go say hi to this person because this person does this. You have a list ready in your head. So the Ghar Sabha, also called, it's called Family Meeting Guide. This is a place where you once a week, you sit together as a family and you just talk, be grateful for things. You write down. So Nikki has some of the activities like, all right, everyone get a sheet of paper. You're going to write 3 things that you are grateful for in the last 1 year.
Right.
So you're right. So then at that point, this is her way for like, oh, Mom, I'm so thankful for you to make dinner for me 3 days a week when I'm away for work. So indirectly, she wrote something. Mom's like, oh, my daughter-in-law is appreciating me.
Right.
It's opening up that little uncomfortability.
Correct.
Vice versa. My mom could say, hey, Nikki, thank you for taking care of all my medical forms and stuff that I needed for the doctor's office or my Medicaid application, or what it could be.
Right.
You know what? It just, then Nikki's like, oh, my mom's actually thankful for that.
Right.
So it just kind of, and my kids always love doing this grateful. I'm grateful for daddy to put me to sleep, for mama to give me ice cream. So I think it's just a communication that you kind of bring to the table, and it doesn't have to be about like Krishna Bhagwan, Bhagwan Swaminarayan, Ram. Like it's not about that. The point is, how can you get everyone in the same room in these big houses,
right,
and sit for half an hour and just talk, other than putting a TV show on and just watch.
Right.
Because no one eats, how many people, I don't eat dinner together. Like we don't have different dinner times. Before, at least there was dinner time together. 6 o'clock dinner, everyone's at the table.
Right.
There's no such thing because it's just work, different priorities and whatnot. So I think the family meeting guys kind of incorporates how you can bring the family together by having these questions. Like if you're sitting in a group, if I'm, like you're asking me a question, I have no choice but to answer. I'm sitting in front of a microphone.
Right.
Right. But if I'm not sitting here,
there's
no answers coming from me. So same, if you sit in one room together and just asking a question, you have no choice but to talk.
Talk
I
about
mean,
it,
I
yeah.
think that's part of it as well for like just conflicts, but also it's also in a lot of other parenting books about how to build life skills for your kids. And they all talk about doing family meetings. It's just now becoming popular on social media because we see a lot of different influencers talking about doing family meetings. But I think it's a number one parenting hack.
Right.
It's so,
And
it's
what
so
are
important.
these two books?
So we talked a little bit about relationships, and what this is basically a little mini guide for couples that are looking to really help deepen their connection with each other. And one of the, it's also backed by psychologists and counselors. I've had a couple people that have reviewed it and provided their feedback to make sure that it's really valuable information. It's more of a workbook and a reflection exercise for couples. Some things that include conflicts and what are the four, they call the horsemen of conflicts. You know, why do conflicts happen? One is defensiveness, one is contempt, and one is criticism. You know, those micro criticisms that can be affecting the relationship, whether you know it or not, but over time it builds that resentment. Stonewalling, you know, if I'm saying something or he tells something to me and I just shut down, walk away, that's stonewalling. So
our parents did that a lot.
Awareness.
That's what we talked about earlier.
But now that, you know, we have more awareness of these, there should be more awareness in every couple. I mean, I think premarital, pre-marriage, everyone should just learn about these skills. What are the few things that can really create separation or that conflict within your relationship, and what are the skills to overcome those? And so we go over those, some common things like language that can be negative in the relationship and how to actually overcome that, and what are ways to soften the approach, and also like generational cycle and how did you grow up. So more reflection exercise as well on that, on how were you parented, or how was your parents' relationship, and how is that maybe infusing in your current relationship. So just self-awareness. And then also one of the big concepts is around understanding each other on a deeper level. And, you know, there's a concept called love maps and enhancing your love maps. And that's something we did yesterday. We went on a date, just us two. We just sat and just asked questions to each other from this guide. I mean, it was a good exercise for us to just kind of reconnect. I think it kind of brought us in such a better mood the whole rest of the day. And then doing weekly check-ins, like we do family meetings with our kids to all of us kind of be on the same page and learn, but also with us having that prioritizing that time for us. Like, how are you feeling in our relationship? Is it like a 10? Or are you feeling at a 5? What can I do to help support you this week to make that score higher?
Better, right.
And the same he'll ask for me.
Right.
So it's just a check-in without kind of waiting for things to blow up out of proportion or something, you know, things to build up over time to build that resentment. And so just having that more awareness with each other. So put it in a guide. We also have, different video modules and things like, you know, kind of going into like boundaries with your in-laws or how to have healthier conflicts. And there's a lot more to it, but that I feel like is just a summary of that.
And it's also on Amazon?
No, that's not on Amazon. That's on our website.
Okay, so when you'll share all the links, we'll make sure we put this on.
Yeah.
That book is on Amazon, the Family Meeting Guide.
And then
so
this
important.
summer, we also have some cultural kits for kids. So this is the one that's for the summer. I think my kids might
Just
have
for like
colored in
activities
this.
for the kids for coloring and
Okay.
just knowing the different festivals and whatnot.
Yeah,
It's
so
more for kids.
summer and fall.
I have begun to realize how important it is now. And now it's even more important. Maybe I think after I had my kids, I feel like it is so much more important for the kids to do that. So my Masa and Masi, they live in Warren. But they used to send their kids to Mandir, BAPS at Edison.
Yeah.
They used to send them like when they were young to learn Gujarati and everything, right? And yeah, I mean, I don't pay attention at that point in time because I didn't have a kid then. But I understood because my parents used to teach me that too. But staying here in the US and trying to know about all this, it's so important.
It's so hard.
It teaches you the stories that are being said here. Yeah. There is a lot of deeper meaning behind it. So this book it's for kids to learn that.
It's different. It's an interactive workbook. So
I
it
see
has,
that.
learning about
Hobbies.
yourself. But then there's different festivals that are different activities for the festivals. Rath Yatra, Guru Purnima, Chaturmas.
The whole calendar.
There's
Yeah.
a calendar, Raksha Bandhan.
Diwali, Holi, everything.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And how does one get this?
Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
These
Okay,
are on
so
Amazon.
we'll highlight that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Something
great.
some fun way to connect your kids, and also, kids are bored in the summer. We take us on a road trip and
Keep them entertained, right?
Keep them
Give
entertained.
something. All right. So last segment I have, before we wrap up, I have so my team tells me I should have this thing done in 21 seconds.
Okay.
And no, we're not going to get it done in 21 seconds, because then they give me so many questions and then I'm like, okay, I can't rush you into answering something, but it's a rapid fire. So if you want to keep your answers short and sweet, if you feel like talking about it, just talk about it. All right. So this is the segment. It's called rapid fire, better half battle. Okay. So the questions will be for both of you. You can answer at the same time or you can just take turns, right? Who says sorry first after a fight?
Manan.
We agree?
Yeah.
All right. Who's more likely to cry during a movie and try to hide it?
Me.
Nikki.
Cry.
I would cry. I
Alright.
wouldn't hide it.
What's the one home task you will never agree on?
Cleaning.
All right.
Cleaning.
Same. Who's the emotional one and who's the secretly emotional one?
Manan's emotional. Nikki's secretly emotional.
Okay. Biggest parenting win?
Oh, that's hard.
Parenting win.
Yeah.
Sleep training.
Sleep training.
Yeah, I think this should have been like a topic. I don't know why they asked in a rapid fire.
Oh, sleep
This
training.
is a more elaborative thing, right? Describe your partner's mood before coffee in one word.
Sleepy.
Tired.
Tired. If your relationship had a TV show title, what would it be?
Veer Zara.
Veer
Visa.
Zara.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Who plans better and who panics better?
Nikki plans better. I panic better.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to you about this. We'll elaborate some of these. What's your go-to trick to calm each other down during chaos?
Hug.
Hug.
Our cultural value you both want to pass on to your kids.
Gratitude. Faith.
There's too many.
Get the book for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, right? Who's more romantic and who is better at showing it?
Manan.
Oh, wow. What gives your home that Shanti feeling?
Shanti. No, just kidding.
Shanti, our daughter. Repeat
Our-
the question.
What gives your home that Shanti feeling?
Sitting together and just being one-minded.
Okay. What's one thing you have built together that makes you both proud?
Family.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. All right. And the final question. What's the couple anthem? The song that just is for you?
Do we have a song? I don't think we have a song. Sorry.
For us, like so I think, by the way, you guys did great. And I don't think I messed it up. This is the first time when the rapid fire went seamless.
Oh, really?
For the couple of times, if you look into my podcast and I tried, it just went all over the place, first of all. But yeah, so the whole point about doing rapid fire is, first of all, obviously to have fun and just, end on a funnier note. Because if you talk some intense topics, I want the guests to leave from here happy. And not, think about whatever we talked about. But thank you so much for doing this. I think a huge shout out to Romy. She was the one who helped us initiate and, start a conversation with Nikki. And I'm very happy and grateful that you guys were able to come here on the show. How did you guys feel?
It was great. I actually I have a funny story for that. Yesterday, Nikki's like, we have to go shoot a podcast. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't do those kind of things.
You just told him yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So she invited me to a calendar last week.
He's going to panic.
So then I'm just...
or try to get out of it. So.
All right.
Then I'm like, what is it? She's like, I'll explain later. So yesterday, he's like, oh, yeah, we're going to record a podcast. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you just go. That's not something for me. This is for you. She's like, no, we
Right.
both need to go. You only have to talk like just a little bit. Not like, this is not little bit.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, fine. So I have a cold plunge at the house.
Okay.
So I go into cold plunge. It's like 45-degree temperature. I go in there for 2 minutes a day.
Right.
So Nikki is anti. I had this for 6 months. She wouldn't even put her finger in there. So yesterday I was like, I will come to the podcast if you do a 45-second cold plunge.
Wow.
And
How did it go?
so
I failed.
she
Did you at
went in,
least go in?
she went in for 5 seconds. She jumped out. There's water everywhere outside. It's just, but again, she tried it for the first time. So I had to.
It's really hard.
Compromise.
So she did. That's what. So she did 50%.
Okay.
So
But she took the first step.
took the first step. I'm
She-
kind of happy about that.
Yeah.
I think she surpassed. She surpassed my expectations that I had for her.
Right.
So it
I'm
was good.
grateful that he came.
No,
and showed up to this.
Yeah,
intro.
when we were talking about it, because we saw Nikki and I was looking through the videos, and then Shivani said that Nikki suggesting we should have Manan as well on the show, and I'm okay because we have been trying to get some couple to do an episode.
Yeah.
And the last time when I tried was just my friends. It was my comfort zone. So I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, that's a good way for me to push my envelope a little bit.
Yeah.
And try and, also somebody who is as seasoned as you are. I was like, okay, that'll be really fun that both of you come in and we have a nice conversation and we talk about life.
Yeah.
And who better to do it than you guys?
Oh my-
because
I
you guys
don't know
been.
about
I
that.
don't know about that.
I am what I
We're
am
still
because of
learning.
Nikki.
We're all.
One thing I
growing.
will say, do keep pushing and giving us that daily dose or that weekly dose via your social media, because you never know that it is impacting my life, my wife's life. So it's impacting a lot of people around us. So please keep doing that.
I think I told her.
go to it.
I told her that you should continue. Sometimes she's like, "Should I do it? Is it too much? Do you think I should do it?" I was like, "I think you should do it because at the least it's helped us in our life.
Right,
It's like you practice what you preach."
right.
So I think that's a motivation for me to tell her to continue doing it because it's helped us for sure.
We've learned a lot from our own content.
Yeah, and
'Cause
that's
we have to learn from it. I can't talk about it.
I think
otherwise.
it comes from a lot of heart. What you post, that's important that people find it much easier to relate and talk about it, right? Yeah.
She's
So-
good at that.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the session. There are a lot of takeaways. I'm going to put the links of the books that Nikki has for her books that we provided here. If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I was looking at analytics. A lot of people are looking at the video, but they're not subscribed. So please don't do that. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is your host, Halak, signing off. I'll see you in the next video. See you later.